All right, so this hack works best with a center pull ball of yarn, or if you have two balls of yarn. So this is what a center pull ball looks like. It's called this because in the center you can actually pull the yarn through, and you've also got the other end of your yarn on the outside of your yarn. So here you can see I've just got two yarn strands, and they're both coming from the same ball of yarn. Okay, so I've got my two strands of yarn here, and what I'm gonna do is make a regular old slip knot. And there's my little slip knot. So I'm gonna take one needle and just put the slip knot onto my needle and tighten that puppy up. Perfect. Okay, so now I've got two strands of yarn, and I'm just gonna start casting on with the long tail using these two strands of yarn. Now I'm going to ignore this slip knot, pretend it doesn't exist at all, okay? It's just gone, it's dead to me, just pretend it's not there. Okay, so let's say I need to cast on 10 stitches. I would just start casting on like this, and I would start counting from here, okay? So this is one stitch I've casted on. All right, so now I have casted on 10 stitches, not including this slip knot. I'm going to turn my needle over, and now I need to make a decision. I need to decide which strand of yarn I want to knit with, because I've got two strands of yarn coming off of my needle, right? One is leading into the outside of my ball of yarn here. The other one is leading into the center pull of my ball. So I've decided that I want to knit with the center pull. So I'm going to take a pair of scissors and snip it off like 5 or 6 inches down, snip it off, and just roll up the rest of this yarn here. And now I've only got one strand of yarn coming from my needle, and that's the yarn that I want to knit with. Cool. So now I'm going to knit my first row until I get to this slip knot, and do not knit the slip knot, okay? Once we get here, I will show you what we're going to do. I'm on the last stitch before my slip knot. Here we go. Once I get to this slip knot here, I'm just going to take it off the needle, and then grab these two strands of yarn and just pull them. Oof. Ah, and now you can see that our slip knot has just disappeared. I've just pulled these two strands just to kind of tighten it up, but our slip knot is now gone. It has disappeared. I really just have 10 stitches on my needle, and now I can just start knitting normally. Once I've finished whatever I'm knitting, I can weave in these two yarn strands here, and of course here, and that's it. So that's my hack for the long tail cast on. Just use two strands of yarn. There's no estimating of yarn, no worries, no nerves, nice and easy.